you're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me.
Do you feel it?
Yes, we do.
A worldwide awakening is upon us. Welcome to the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Where we explore topics such as UFOs, aliens, banned medical cures, as well as classified secret knowledge. Come question your holographic existence. Share experiences from the other side. This is a show that will expand your mind as we decrypt the symbolic messages locked away deep within your DNA. And now, your guides for this magical journey. The hosts of the Universal Consciousness Show, Augie Nost and Diana Seraphim.
Hello, everybody. Here we are again. Another Monday with coffee in hand and ready to go. We are going to do a phenomenal show here today because we have a very special guest. And first, yes, you are listening to the show for the Thinking Global Citizen. And my name is Augie, and I'm one of the hosts. And Diana, my co-host, is over in Germany. Hello, Diana.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, and before I introduce the guest, I want to tell you how you can connect with us. You can visit us at our website, that is universal-consciousness-show.com. And we are on YouTube with the same name, Universal Consciousness Show. And while you are there on YouTube, go ahead, please subscribe to the channel. And especially if you like what you hear, also click on that little bell that comes up next to the subscribe button. Because that way you will have a notification when the next shows come up. And that's important. So, for those of you that like to hear this again, go to the universal-consciousness-show.com website or on YouTube, and you will find us, of course, also on KCORradio.com. That is, go look there in the archives under Universal Consciousness Show, and you can also hear us there. We are on Twitter, iTunes, TuneIn, Alexa, Facebook, and a few other places that we put it. So you will pretty much find us anywhere. Now, if you are listening on the KCOR radio website, there is a wonderful little feature down at the bottom of the page. It's called the donate button. And if you like what you hear and you appreciate what you're doing, we'd love for you also to help us out that way, because it does tell us every time we get a donation that we are doing the right thing. And it helps us to motivate to continue. So now let's go to the guest. We have a gentleman that I've known for quite a few years. His name is Alex Mike Chechanowich, and I hope I didn't butcher that name. I'll find out shortly if he corrects me. He jokingly says that he is a refugee from Detroit, Michigan, because he is an expat from the United States to Norway. Now, he played in the business world for many years and got several awards for his work in photography and painting. He is also a certified NLP instructor, that is neuro-linguistic programming instructor. And he has been certified as that since 1994. And he has worked with NLP and hypnosis and researched the potential of human awareness. Boy, we all have done that. His biggest interest has been to map and find methods to access this mysterious thing that is called our higher self. And that in his quest for greater awareness of the human potential and the real power of the mind. He has written 7 books, 4 in Norwegian and 3 in English. And they are free. This is the information that is so important. He feels like it needs to be available to people. So think on that. One of his books is The Handbook for Spiritual Psychology. Another, The Hidden Agenda, and The Game of Games. And then there are 4 Norwegian books also. We will be talking about his discoveries concerning the mind and how we have been misled into looking in the wrong place for deeper answers. So, welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you again. And,
Hello.
and I do prefer Mike or Michael. I don't use the word Alex, other than that used to be the name I went in school in the States.
Ah, okay. So, Mike then, huh?
Mike is fine.
All right, we'll do that.
Hello, Mike, and thank you so much for joining us today. But just for the listener that don't know you yet, could you please tell us again, in a few words, how did it all begin for you? What brought you on this wonderful path?
Well, I think it began when I was born. And I've been on a serendipitous path all through my life. At the time, I didn't realize that, of course. The first time I meditated in 1972, I had a full-blown Kundalini awakening. I didn't know what it was. I just knew it was not something I'd ever experienced before. And it had to go a number of years, all the way up to 1987, after a lot of research and waiting until the time was right, because I had just attended a funeral of a friend that had been very close to me that had died a mysterious death. And on the way home from her funeral, I went to a video store to get a film so I could get the time to go by. And I was nudged to pick out Shirley MacLaine's Out on a Limb because it was 4 hours long. And I thought, this is perfect. And of course it was perfect. And what happened is that the spirit of the woman that had died became with me, actually from the time of the funeral until 9 months out in the future. And she showed me the path through the entire alternative circuit, so I didn't get lost.
Wow.
And when, after 9 months, I felt I was on my own, I said, thank you. You can go do your thing now. And poof, she disappeared. And after that, I discovered Una from Hawaii in 1988. And in 1989, I discovered NLP. And that's when I found out that, okay, here I have the tools that I need to confront what I'd always known something about, because I was brought up in a very Christian home, born-again Baptists. But I had never been able to accept in its entirety the religious teachings that the church was giving me. But I knew it was important.
Yeah.
So the rest is a downhill story, actually, after that. I've done about 23,000 hours of clients in sessions. I've done about 4,000 past life regressions, because that's what I really wanted to look into first. And like was written, I was looking into what's the higher self, because I had discovered that there was a form of magic. Several times in my life, I had noticed things where I would say, oh, I wish that would happen, or I would like to do this, or I would like to do that. Like things that are very amazing. And all of a sudden, it happened that way. And there was so much magic that I had to think, what is the mechanism behind it all? And I discovered that first by looking into the Kuna psychology, because they believe that the human mind is a 10-part, or the human is a 10-part deal, where you've got the body, you have 3 spirit awarenesses, 3 spirit bodies, and 3 sets of energy. Now, the 3 spirits are called Uhani, Unapahili, and Awamakua. Psychologically, this translates to the rational mind, the emotional mind, and the higher self. And in Huna, there are very specific methodologies used to change your future, to get protection from things, and all of this stuff. And I had to research this. And then I used hypnosis that I learned from NLP to do the research and find out more about it. And it took a long time. And after many years, I can say today, I know what it's about now. There's no doubt.
When you were doing that research,
you want to know.
Did you use a lot of self-hypnosis, or did you have someone help you with that hypnosis?
Well, I was in trance by another operator.
Okay.
For the first time, I was successful in 1994, excuse me. And at that time, I channeled higher self-awareness, but I wasn't aware of it. And I had to wait all the way until 1999 before I took a transcript of that trance. And that's when I discovered I was sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah. A gold mine of knowledge.
Yes. And since that time, I haven't channeled higher self, but higher self comes through me through the process of stretching out by wanting to become higher self.
Yeah. When people are channeling like that, it is the information that is coming through is often so very detailed, maybe sometimes specific to that person, that it couldn't really come from some other entity out there. Is that what you experienced also?
The information for me was not specific. It was more in generalities that were so highly intelligent, super logical, that they could not be argued with. It would take almost an hour to go through it all.
Yeah, that's all right.
And I understood also from reading the Una literature that I had that higher self was super logical. So I use that as a criteria. I made an agreement very early in my searching that I would never channel anything else than my own higher self. And I haven't done that.
Okay.
Else but higher self. And I know a lot of people that have done otherwise, and some of them have really gone off into blind alleys. And that's their lesson.
Oh, there's a lot of goofy stuff out there that come through like that. So you don't really know what the source is sometimes.
That's exactly true.
Yeah, and that could be tricky. There are pranksters out there. There are other thought forms that maybe just want to play a game.
The spirit world is just as polarized and, well, I would say not just as polarized as this world, but there's good and evil in the spirit world as there is on this world.
Yeah. And I think the sooner we actually open up to that and recognize it, the wiser we are, because there's a lot of new age thinking out there that says, well, if it's spiritual, it's good. Well, yeah, but not necessarily.
Actually, in my first channeling, it was told to me that there is no good and evil, because the creator itself is neutral. Now, this is something I had never understood before. I said, okay. The neutral creator, as an act of love, gives all of its creation the free will of choice to evolve through the process of pain or pleasure.
Yep.
Now, I had heard about this before, and I was really wondering, why do people choose pain? And the answer is this, and it's very, very interesting. The fact is, we all seek pleasure. We want to evolve through pleasure. However, there's a distinct difference between short-term pleasure that gives long-term pain and dependency, and short-term pain that happens through stretching and learning and mastery that leads to freedom and independence and long-term pleasure. This is the secret.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
This is why the road to hell is paved with glitter and status and easy solutions, but there are no off-ramps.
Yeah. No off-ramps. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Ah.
You have to fight to get off.
Yeah, because it is so physically rewarding sometimes that we totally get buried in it.
This is exactly what humanity is having to do now. We have to fight to get rid of the comfort zone that we bought into by saying yes to let other people take our responsibility for us.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for a lot of people, because there is this religion out there called governmentalism. And half the population on Earth, I think, has bought into that as the salvation of society.
Yes. But you see, there's an interesting story to this too, which leads into my discovery about the differences between the left and the right brain hemispheres. Because this has to do everything with about the government and the people.
Mm-hmm.
See, one of the things I learned early on in my NLP career was the idea that so is the inside, so is the outside, so is above, so is below. Mm-hmm. And I started looking for patterns very early on. And one of the things that I have, after a long, long time, discovered is that all of the rational attributes that are officially designated to left brain hemisphere thinking must use the process of fragmentation. That means splitting up, division, taking apart. Language, math, specialization, linear time, sequential logic, all of these things. Mm-hmm. And then we have a right brain hemisphere that works on a different principle. all of the right brain hemisphere or emotional patterns must use wholeness, the principles of wholeness, to be emotional intelligence. Wow. When I discovered this, I found out that we are provided with the ultimate potential to become the master. The master is only the master if he can take apart and put things back together again. Mm-hmm. However, when we only set our focus on the rational, which is fragmenting, then we fragment ourselves away from emotional intelligence, and it becomes destructive. And in fragmenting itself away from self, it becomes afraid, compartmentalized, and has a need to take control, which is like the government. Mm-hmm. The need to rule instead of serve.
Yep.
Now, the solution to the dilemma for the right and the left brain, for every individual on the planet, is not to control your emotions, but to get the rational mind to get off the pedestal of domination and get down to on its knees and say, I've got to ask for forgiveness here. I'm sorry, because the emotional mind is the wholeness. Mm. The parts can never be greater than the whole. So the rational mind must learn to serve the emotional mind.
Boy, that's a hard one.
Pardon?
That's a hard one.
Yes. But you see, the emotional mind has always served the rational mind.
Yeah.
Through thick or thin. It's just like women have always served their men, even though the men have become assholes.
Yeah.
But the men have not served their women. This all fits together as a metaphor of everything that is. And in government, instead of government telling people what to do, the government must serve the people. It has an absolute function, but only as a servant.
I see now we have less than a minute left before the break here. So could you hang on to that thought, and then let's go to break, and then we will come back afterwards. When we come back also, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between the brain and the mind, because science think one thing and the truth may be something different. So let's do that. We'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch the dial. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Your weekly connection to the truth.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Share your knowledge by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Call now.
Worldwide callers find us on Skype at KCOR Radio. It's time to abandon your fear and question what you think you know.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
More awakening awaits.
After this, after this, after this, after this, after this, after this.
Thursday nights are about to get weird on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Join hosts Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz as they go exploring the bizarre. Jet across the cosmos with two of the most electrifying paranormal researchers in the known universe. Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Exploring the bizarre, takes you deep within the world of the unexplained. UFOs, ghosts, lost worlds, cryptozoology. It's time to take back the night with hosts Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz, exploring the bizarre. Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, only on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
Monday nights are about to become hauntingly good, as Reverend Sean Whittington possesses the airwaves with Vegas Supernatural. Tune in every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for Vegas Supernatural, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. There's a war raging between good and evil. The question is, which side are you fighting on? Tune in Monday nights as Reverend Sean Whittington sets the new standard for paranormal radio with some of the most influential personalities in the world today. Vegas Supernatural, hosted by Reverend Sean Whittington, every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The one show even the devil doesn't want you to hear.
Hello, KCOR listeners. Lorian Fenton here from the Fenton Files to tell you how to watch UFOCon 2020, which was held right before the virus scare and shelter in place. It was a conference like no other, so don't miss out on the specially priced on-demand replay of what is already the most talked about conference of 2020. Visit UFOCon2020.com. That's UFOCon2020.com.
Ready to go.
It's showtime!
Here we go, world. You're listening to the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Broadcasting from the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Their base is so large it has to draw most of its power from the nearby nuclear fusion plant.
The future of radio is here and now.
Going live in 3, 2, 1.
It's time, once again, to unravel the mysteries of the universe by connecting the dots to a higher consciousness. This is the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Now the world will begin hearing us.
Share your knowledge by calling 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
It's as simple as that.
Find us on Twitter at KCOR Radio or use hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us on the live chat at KCORradio.com. Back to your enlightened hosts, Agi Nast and Diana Serafini.
Hello, hello. You are still listening to the Universal Consciousness Show, and we are back with Mike Chechanowich in Norway. We were talking before the break about the different levels of mind, and did you keep your thought on that so you can continue?
Yes.
All right.
The difference between the mind and the brain. The brain is a mirror of the mind. If we think, so is above, so is below. We have two hemispheres in the brain connected by a neutral organ called the corpus callosum. It is the neutral organ that is the clue to make the magic. In the dolphin, the corpus callosum is bigger than the brain. This is the interface between the two hemispheres. It's like the translation central. And in humans, the corpus callosum grows if it is stimulated through cross-diagonal slow movement. Doing one thing with your hands while doing with another thing with your feet or other hand. Playing musical instruments is one of the things. Diagonal cross-crawling is what starts it off as a small child. And you have then the rational mind, which is the fragmentational mind or rational intelligence, which is absolutely necessary. And you have the emotional mind, which is connected up to the wholeness. It is a specialist in geometry, eternity, literal thinking. It also has logic. Now we're told that the emotional mind isn't logical. The rational mind uses sequential logic, but the emotional mind uses simultaneous logic, which is superior. This is how we recognize people on the street and know their name immediately. There are no computers that can do that.
Yeah.
So this is very interesting. And what I've discovered is that in my own life, I've, as far as I know, have been able to stimulate and activate each and every center or specialization for the left and the right brain hemisphere throughout time. It's taken 70 years. And when that happens, the brain starts to self-organize. Just like the film Lucy. It's a really, really strange thing. I can think of in any direction now, and the information will come to me. Because then you're coupled up to the internet or the internet of mind, because there is only one awareness. And you can say the one created the two, which means three. That's how we get rid of duality thinking. With this neutral position, we can become the observer. With that, we can solve all the conflicts on this planet.
Yeah. I have been using an analogy for a while, and let me run this by you and see what you think. I'm looking at the brain contrary to the mind as maybe the brain could be compared to a computer, because a computer needs electricity. The brain needs electricity in order to run. And then we have the mind, that is the computer programs that is laid on to the computer in order to make the computer do what it does. Could it be something like that?
Well, the programs come from different areas. First of all, the mind is already pre-programmed before conception. Because the child or the new soul entering in, the child chooses its parents. This is something I think almost 100% of the people that do past life regression have discovered.
I know that. Yep.
It's a universal truth. Okay. Yep. Because the parents have to be the right ones to fulfill the agenda. And the child has already chosen their gender, their sexual preference, their country, whatever religion it's going to take, of course, through the parents and the culture and all this stuff. And it brings with it a set of talents and a set of lessons to be learned and challenges. And all that's pre-programmed. Then you have the first 6 years of the child which is where the emotional mind becomes further programmed of tendencies like moving toward or moving away, curiosity, and all of these things that will become imprinted into the personality for that life. Mm-hmm. They're very difficult to change.
Yeah,
if I had known that when I had my children, mm-hmm. I would have treated this the first 6 years so differently. If I had cooperation with my wife, of course.
Yeah.
Because that's the stimulation. You can really create an enormous foundation for talent if those first 6 years are utilized properly.
Yeah, and that's the first 6-7 years is when the character is formed also.
That's the programming.
Yeah.
And you see, all humans, we need 3 things. And one of them is not entertainment. We need true rest, we need true work, and we need true play. True work is our soul's agenda. Resting is what we would do by, let's say, running on our talents because we don't have to think about it. And then play is the creative act. Mm-hmm. The most important part of a child's upbringing is to be able to play freely, experimenting with their fantasy, without discipline, all on their own, with or without others, of course. But they must be able to learn to play, because play is an activity that will follow you all through life.
Yep, I still like to do it.
It's what makes you human.
Yeah. Now you said you've done also past life regressions. Yes. Did you do any on yourself?
I have been excluded from that luxury because I have been informed that if I knew my personal past or spiritual past, it would interfere with my work. I've accepted that. And the more I know about where I'm stretching out today, I realize that's true.
Well, if that's what you're told, it probably is true, as long as you do not choose to look at it different, I suppose.
I have had past lives in World War II. I helped a lot of Jewish people get saved by the Nazis. Mm-hmm. And during that life, I was betrayed by a woman. Mm-hmm. In general, I know about those things, and those things are resolved. Mm-hmm. But they're not important anymore.
Yeah.
Most of my past is not on this planet. Mm-hmm. I discovered in 2000 that one of the missions that I had was to wake up the wanderers.
And there's a lot of them out there.
As a first wave wanderer, I had to wake up all the others.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of wanderers also that don't know they are wanderers.
That's true. I noticed that almost all of my clients after 2000, they only need a little tiny screw adjustment, and they were on track.
Yeah.
And that was the difference between wanderers and what I call muggles.
Mm-hmm.
the non-magical humans.
Yeah, that brings me to another thought. What if we are starting to realize that there's something in our mind that is not quite right and we think or wish that it would be different? What can we do to change those irregularities?
Can you give me an example?
Let's say somebody is an alcoholic. What can we do without going to a meeting proclaiming and claiming that, yes, I am an alcoholic? No, maybe we could do that different. What could we do to change something like that?
Well, the Alcoholics Anonymous is actually prolonging the self-persecution because the I am statement is a statement of identity.
Yep.
If you say, I am an alcoholic, I mean, that's a low-level identity. I am an eternal spirit, learning that I am an eternal spirit is much better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I was going, but I wanted to hear it from you.
Now you heard it from me.
Yeah. Because I know when they get up and, hey, I'm Joe and I am, an alcoholic. Well, yeah, of course you are. Keep claiming it and you're going to be one too.
Yes.
There's a different...
I have come across a very interesting law in the Law of One. It's called the Law of Confusion. And it states this: you shall not force your spiritual awareness or magic upon any unaware human, because that would take away from them the free choice to stretch out and make that decision for themselves.
Yeah.
So you really can't go out and interfere with people. That's a bad thing. That's breaking spiritual law. And if you think of it, the men in black, they are simply enforcers of the law of confusion, which makes sense.
From their point of view, absolutely. Yeah.
Also from a spiritual point of view.
Mm-hmm.
In third density, we are not supposed to have free energy. We're not supposed to have UFOs wandering around, because that would get people to think about infinity. And that would destroy third density. So third density is perfectly shitty, but it's perfectly as a school to teach humans to learn through trial and error in a state of confusion over and over and over and over again until they're ready.
Yeah.
This is the game of games. And if you've seen the film The Game with what's his name?
The Thrones?
No, The Game.
Oh, not sure.
It's with a very, very well-known actor. You look it up on YouTube, you'll see it.
Yeah. Game of Games, that's the name of one of your books.
The Game of Games.
Yeah.
It's a 22-page short story that was inspired by the film The Game, which is actually, this guy is on his birthday, has been given a game as a present. And the game is going to give him what he needs, but he doesn't know what he needs. He's got it all because he's this wheeler dealer. He's got all the money he wants, but he needs to find his heart. So the game takes him through hell and high water, and he even kills his own brother in the act. And that gets him so much in his heart. Oh my God, what have I done? And he throws himself off a building. And what does he do? He crash lands through the glass in the top of the building, which is candy glass, lands on this huge balloon, which is a landing pad. X marks the spot. And all the actors are there in their best dinner attire, ready for the guest of honor. This is the game.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, what a wonderful story. And that's life.
Now, speaking of your books there, are these books available to people where they can contact you and get this?
Unfortunately, they are not, because I don't have any website any longer. I used to, but there was so little demand because it was too far ahead of time.
Yeah.
Perhaps after the event, they'll be made available. I've sent them out to people as PDF files, but they're pretty big.
Yeah.
In Norwegian, the one book, the Spiritual Handbook, in Norwegian is available on hard copy. That has sold around 3,000 examples.
Okay.
It's been very well received.
Where would they go to find that book in Norway?
Through me right now, or by looking at the internet. It's called Livets Homebook.
Okay. Maybe would you have people contact you by email, maybe?
That would be the best way to do it, because I have copies here at home.
Yeah, please let them know where they can get that.
My email?
Yes.
Is MIKECECH Alpha Kröll online.no.
Okay.
ONLINE.no.
Online, yeah. Okay.
But that's only in the Norwegian language.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's okay. We get listeners in Norway, so that's good.
The book was written so that anybody reading that book would have what they need to securely ascend into fourth density.
Sounds good. And I got one more question at the tail end here. We got 5 minutes or less now left for the show. Let me ask you, the universe itself is very much tied in with the mind, because quantum mechanics shows us we live in a mind-created universe. What would you define the universe as to you? What is the universe?
The universe is mind.
Yeah.
God is all of the I's. When I say I am, and you say I am, everyone that is alive, even frogs and salamanders and insects, have this sense of I-ness.
Yeah.
Everything that has a sense of I-ness, this is the all-seeing I. There's a planetary awareness, the I-ness on the planet. Everything is alive. The universe is alive. The universe has an I as well. And this is the secret behind the all-seeing I. It's not the Illuminati. It is the concept of the universal mind.
That makes sense, because it dates back thousands of years, that I.
It is eternal.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Well, I see we got 3 minutes left here. And now when you look at, I said thousands of years it dates back, and you see it in Egypt, and you see something similar coming out of India that may have been written about 9,000 years ago. So they've had some knowledge about this I, or the self, maybe the higher self.
The higher self is a continuity.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. Because
we're going through the 6th extinction event, which means the 3rd 25,000 year cycle, which is exactly what the raw material says.
Yeah.
But this time the Earth is going over to positive polarization. So it will be the last time for third density, but it won't be the catastrophe that it has been on all the other 12,000 year cycles, at least not for those on that timeline.
Yeah. I think, though, what I have seen is that, yes, there will be a new existence for us higher thinkers, but the scuzz buckets, they'll be left behind, and they're going to get to keep their misery on their Earth.
Third density planet will not support life after it has transitioned through the horizon of the galaxy. That's called the black wall or the dielectric plane. The catastrophe will be so much that they will not survive, and the magnetics of the new Earth will not support their life.
Oh. Well, that's a new
Doesn't
thought.
matter where they are on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
The magnetics will not support their life.
Mm-hmm. And I see we got less than a minute left, so gosh, we're down to the end, Mike. So let's do this again, because this got deep. We didn't talk about neuro-linguistic programming at all. Let's do that next time. So thank you very much. Yeah, we thank you for being with us, and be here next week. We got another excellent guest for you. So thank you, and be good to each other.
Thank you. Bye.
This has been the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Your weekly guide to a deeper understanding of the all that we are.
Well, in a few years, it will be a matter of common sense to very many people that they're one with the universe. It'll be so simple.
Live Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, hosts, or their guests, please visit universal-consciousness-show.com. That's universal-consciousness-show.com. Remember, there's a shift coming, a new earthly paradigm, a shift to universal consciousness.
Universal Consciousness.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.